Greetings, bosses. I'm Christy Belt Grossman, owner of Ops Boss Coaching and Chief Operating Officer of the Belt Team. Welcome to another edition of Let's Get Bossy. So today we're going to talk about, are you on track for your goals? And also what the most successful people do to push on to their goals. So as temperatures are rising outside, I'm in Virginia, it's about 90 degrees out with 90% humidity. What I'm seeing is that the summer doldrums are setting in inside. When I'm talking to my clients, they've been working so hard towards their goals all year, and at some point it's only natural that your energy will wane. Now you may be watching this video at another time of year, it really doesn't matter. There are times in our business lives where the energy just kind of drops off. So what I want to do today is dive in and see what can we do at those times to continue to push on to our goals. It is time for a gut check. Now before we do that, I want to ask your permission to do something, and that is I have prepared some notes today because I am committed to providing value to you, and there are a number of tips and takeaways that I want to make sure that I deliver, and so I've written them down, and you may see me reading from my notes a couple times during this video, and that's to make sure that I provide you with all the valuable information that I've prepared. So if you're ready, let's dive in. All right, back in 2011, I had the privilege of attending Tony Robbins' Business Mastery. I live in DC and I flew out to Las Vegas. I had no idea what was in store for me. It was amazing and life-changing. And on a side note, I would highly recommend that if you have the opportunity to attend anything with Tony Robbins, that you definitely put that on your growth plan. So I was out there for 5 days. It was 5 full, long, amazing days. And when I say long, I mean long. We were in session from 8 a.m. until 10 p.m. and we did get a lunch break. We got a 1-hour lunch break at 5 o'clock. Now he packed the information in. It was a transformative week for me, and there were 2 things that I took away from that I think will really help all of us in terms of staying on track for our goals. So number 1 is what I call the 3 S's: story, state, and strategy. You can write those down if you want. Story, state, and strategy. Now, if I asked you which one you thought was the most important, and I ask people this all the time, I usually get the answer strategy. And that's kind of how our mind goes. If you're watching this and you're an executive assistant or a director of operations or COO of a real estate team, your mind probably always goes directly to strategy. When someone sets a goal, we immediately start planning the steps of how we're going to get to that goal. Now, what I learned that week at Business Mastery with Tony Robbins is that strategy is actually the least important of these 3 things. The number 1 most important thing towards reaching your goal is what Tony calls story. So I would ask you this question: what stories are you telling yourself? What stories might you be stuck in? You know, we all have stories. I hear them all the time when I'm on my coaching calls. I hear people saying like, oh, I'm just not good at that, or I've never been good at that. I'm not that kind of person. It doesn't matter what the topic at hand is. It could be time blocking, it could be recruiting or making videos or having tough conversations with the people on your team. It could be looking at the profit and loss statement like, oh, I'm just not good with numbers. Or if you're an agent, I hear this sometimes around prospecting, or I hear it around knowing your numbers. I'm just not good with numbers. Or it could be around even keeping a schedule. Oh, I'm just not a disciplined person, or I just don't run on time. You hear all kinds of stories that people are telling themselves. So every time you say these things, you're actually reinforcing the story in your own head. And not only that, you're actually sharing those stories with the people around you. And pretty soon your family and your friends and your coworkers, they all have stories about you in their heads that you've created, and pretty soon you've turned something from a story into a self-fulfilling prophecy. So I want to ask you, what would happen if you tell yourself a different story? I'm betting your life would change. I'm betting it would change drastically, especially if those stories are around things that are really important in your life. Might be around relationships. They might be around your work priorities. I can think of a million stories that I've told myself. Let me give you an example of one. I used to tell myself the story that because I am an introvert, I will never be good at doing presentations. Now, the reality is I am an introvert. I go to a party and I'm the one who wants to talk to one person and leave. Truly, honestly, I'm an introvert. But the story I told myself that because I was an introvert, I would never be able to do presentations was just a story that I was telling myself. And the way I learned this was that I got a phone call in 2012 that Gary Keller wanted me to be on stage at Mega Camp in front of 10,000 people to talk about social media and blogging. Now, I love social media and I love blogging. I think social media is just the most amazing way, especially for an introvert, to reach out and be connected to other people and develop relationships offline that have been lifelong relationships to me. So I was super passionate about the topic. Now, the problem was I've been telling myself a story, probably at this point for about 40 years, that because I'm an introvert, I can't speak in public. So I got that phone call and I had to make a decision to change my story because I decided to go ahead and be on stage with Gary, and it was an amazing opportunity. And so I changed my story. My new story is I love presenting and sharing information where I'm an expert because I have the ability to impact people positively. And raising the bar is so important to me that I embrace every opportunity I can to present. So that's an example of a story that I had to change in order for my results to change. What new story do you need to tell yourself? And once you're telling yourself that new story, how do you even go about changing your story? Because you don't just say, okay, I have a new story, right? So I'm going to give you some techniques and some ideas for how you can change the story that you're telling yourself. So number one is I'm a big believer in affirmations, and I'm going to share an app with you that I use on a daily basis that has totally blown my mind, and I think you're going to love it too. It's called Think Up. Think UP. So think up. Now, I have a lot of people tell me they don't know what to say on their affirmations. Like, I'm not creative. I don't even know what an affirmation is. Well, that's the great thing about this app is you can look up affirmations under different categories. You can look up confidence or weight loss, relationships, health, love, family, anything that's important to you. There's a category for it, and there's already affirmations in there that you can choose from. Now, I like to write my own because I like to write things that are personal to me, and I change them periodically. So I have them whatever mindset I'm working on. So once you have your affirmations, you just type them into the app and then you record them. The app adds music and then you just play them back to yourself. It's super simple. I'm actually gonna pull my phone out. We'll see if this works. And I'm gonna play my affirmations for you so you can hear what it sounds like when I do these in the morning. You may not be able to see it, but I think you're gonna be able to hear it.
I am a beloved child of God and treat others as his beloved children.
I am a beloved child of God and treat others as his beloved children.
I use my gifts of authenticity, faith, and passion to empower others to be their fullest and best selves.
I use my gifts of authenticity, faith, and passion to empower others to be their best and fullest selves.
I love the life I have while creating the life of my dreams.
I love the life I have while creating the life of my dreams. Okay, wait, this one's going to be in French. Wait for this one. It's my favorite.
Je possède quelque chose de spécial dont le monde a besoin.
Je possède quelque chose de spécial dont le monde a besoin. Now, my accent may not be the best, but I love what that says. In English, that means I have something special that the world needs. So I think you could probably see as I was saying my apps that my energy came up, right? So when you choose affirmations, I want you to choose powerful words that evoke powerful feelings. So you can write that down. Choose powerful words that evoke powerful feelings. And I'm going to give you an example of an exercise that I did with one of my clients actually just this week who was working on her affirmations. So she's an executive assistant, and she was having a little bit of a struggle with embracing change. There's been continual change on her team and chaos and growth, which are all great things because if you're not growing, you're dying, right? So she was having a struggle embracing that, and we talked about writing an affirmation that would help her embrace change. And so because she knows doing that will make her a more successful EA. So she came to our coaching call and she had her affirmation. And the first edition of the affirmation was, I am on an ever-changing journey. And I said, okay, that's great. Let's see if we can tweak that to add a little bit more emotion into that. So she came back to me and said, I am excited to be on an ever-changing journey. And I'm like, awesome, that's great. That's much better, right? I am on an ever-changing journey, or I am excited to be on an ever-changing journey. So we tweaked it one more time, and the final affirmation says, I am excited to be on an ever-changing journey to the life of my dreams. Wow, what a difference. I am on an ever-changing journey, or I am excited to be on an ever-changing journey to the life of my dreams. Now imagine saying that every single day and the energy that that evokes. You see what she did there. She connected her words to her feelings and her emotion, and she connected her head to her heart. And that makes all the difference in the world. So I listen to my affirmations in the morning. I like to start my day that way after I look at my vision board, and I play them out loud. So I either put I take the phone and put it on the seat in my car. Oh, by the way, do you like my cell phone cover? I put the phone on the seat of my car and I listen to them, so hands-free driving, or I do it while I'm putting on my makeup in the morning. There's something really impactful about hearing the affirmations in your own voice and then saying them out loud that has really changed things for me. So I want you guys to try it and let me know what you think. Better yet, I'm going to ask you to set it up today before you go to bed. Would you commit to me to do that? If you would, I want you to text me your affirmations, 703-608-9991. And the reason why I want you to do that is because if you take action on a goal within 24 hours of setting the goal, you're 85% more apt to achieve the goal. So I want to set you guys up for success. So text me your affirmations at 703-608-9991. And I'm happy to help you if you want to do the work that I did with my client on working on tweaking them. All right, so that's enough about story. I think you know, what story are you telling yourself? Now, the second thing that Tony talked to us about was state. So I think we kind of know, let me scroll down to state. We kind of know what state means. And we all start the year with these great intentions. We have great plans and we have this great new routine. And if you're like most people, by the time July comes or September comes, well, that routine is not so great anymore, right? So that means that when you arrive at the office and you're ready to jump in to do your most important things like lead gen or talent generation or working on your top 20%, your big rocks, your state is not at its best. So you're actually sabotaging your success before you even get started. So most of my clients know this because I say it all the time, but I want to share it with you, and that is today starts yesterday. What are you doing each day to set yourself up for success the following day? What are you doing to prepare to succeed tomorrow? Do you have a time block schedule? Are the big rocks on your calendar? Do you have a must-do list instead of a to-do list? Have you scheduled time with family, time for fun, time for fitness? Do you know what you're wearing tomorrow? Do you need to do meal prep? Do you have gas in your car? Do you even know where your wallet is? Like seriously, How are you starting your day? I know some of these sound really silly, yet preparing the night before means that you have everything you need and, more importantly, all of your energy available for the most important things that day. Sorry, you see me looking at my notes because here's where I want to read to you something that has really changed the world for me. So if you need a reset to reset your state, like let's clean the slate, let's start over, I want you to pull out that famous book, The Millionaire Real Estate Agent, and I want you to look up Gary Keller's energy plan because this is genius, you guys. It is so, so simple. I'm going to read you a quote from Gary. This is how Gary starts his day and makes sure that his state is in the best place possible. So here's what Gary says. I get up every day by 6 a.m. and meditate and pray for spiritual energy. Then I exercise and eat for physical energy. Afterward, I hug, kiss, and laugh with my family for emotional energy. And I try to do it so that I get to spend time with all of them and still get to the office between 8 and 9 a.m. On a side note, what time are you getting to the office? I then plan and calendar my day for mental energy and spend my first, most energized hours in the office working hard on lead generation and recruiting talent for business energy. I never slack off before 11 a.m. That's the end of the quote. Now, when I read that quote, my side note thought was, I never slack off before 11 a.m. I wonder if he slacks off after 11 a.m. Then I'm thinking, no, he's Gary Keller. I don't think he is. Anyway, that's how you can reset your state. And to plus that, I would add one more practice on top of that, and that is to write down 3 gratitudes every day, because gratitude is the absolute highest energy you can have, and that will set your state up for success so that you can move on to your strategy. So story, state, and strategy. Now, that was the first thing that Tony Robbins taught us. The second thing that I learned at Tony Robbins Business Mastery actually wasn't from Tony Robbins. It was from someone I met there. So there's these amazing people that are there, all kinds of entrepreneurs, people in all different fields, in and out of business, in sports and entertainment. And I happened to meet this guy. He was the personal trainer to the world champion MMA fighter. I don't know if you guys have ever seen an MMA fighter. It's not my kind of sport, but it's intense. I mean, these are bad. Well, I can't say that word on a video. These are beasts of guys that are fighting in the MMA. At any rate, he told me that he only spends 20% of his time doing physical training with the MMA champion, and they spend 80% of their time doing mental training. And that totally fascinated me because in real estate, we spend all kinds of time doing physical training, so to speak, but real estate training. So we do contract training and script practice, and we take negotiating classes and all kinds of classes having to do with real estate. But what are we doing to develop our emotional and psychological strength? What are we doing to get stronger mentally? So high five right now if you're in coaching, because that is an excellent step towards getting more strong mentally. It's a great start. Now I want to read to you again a quote. This is back from Tony Robbins, back on that same topic. The most painful mistake I see in first-time entrepreneurs is thinking that just having a business plan or a great concept is enough to guarantee success. It's not. Business success is 80% psychology and 20% mechanics. And frankly, most people's psychology is not meant for building a business. My business advice, think honestly about who you are, what you want to accomplish, and what mindset you need to have to get there. Because the biggest thing that will hold you back is your own nature. Few people are natural risk takers or emotionally ready for the challenges of building a business. You can't just sign up for a marathon and run it without ever training. You have to increase your capacity and become fit. Being an entrepreneur requires similar kinds of emotional and psychological fitness so that you don't become the chokehold on your business's success. Whoa. I read that and I was like, wow. I need to totally change my mindset around training. What am I doing for psychological training? So I read you that quote, and that quote was actually Tony speaking to entrepreneurs. But I'm sharing this with all of you because if you are an EA at the high level or a director of operations, you are riding shotgun as a leader in your organization. And while you may not be the entrepreneur, you don't have the risk and you don't own the business, you are operating as what I call an intrapreneur. So you are still operating as building a business within a business. And so I would ask you, besides being in coaching, what else are you doing to develop your emotional physical fitness? So I'm going to give you a couple of ideas. Now you can probably think of a million other ones, and some of these are a little off the wall, but I want to push you to stretch a little bit. So here's some ideas, and you can write these down. I'm going to give you 4 ideas. So number 1 is be okay with failing. Instead of asking for permission, be that person who asks for forgiveness. Fail forward a lot. That's number 1. Number 2, push yourself outside of work. Compete in something that doesn't come naturally, or if you're really good at something, compete to the point and push yourself past where you've ever gone before. So that could be a sport, it could be a game, it could be volunteer work, it could be a million things. My husband, for example, is one of the top blood donors in Fairfax County for giving blood. He actually has a disease that requires him to give blood frequently, and he used to faint when he gave blood, and now he goes in, it's like a piece of cake. That is mental fitness. Okay, number 3, I want you to step outside your comfort zone. Are you uncomfortable going in a hospital? Sign up to volunteer at the hospital. Are you uncomfortable talking to strangers? Sign up to work in a food kitchen. I know, that feels uncomfortable, doesn't it? That's the point, exactly. Okay, 4th thing, I want you to read or reread, if you've already read it, the book called Fierce Conversations by Susan Scott. And then I want you to have that conversation that you know you need to have, whether that's with a family member or a team member. Read the book and have that tough conversation. You can probably think of a million other ideas. Now the point is to find places that will stretch you emotionally and psychologically, where you can develop strength and endurance, because doing so is going to bring you closer to your goals and bring you there faster. So I want to recap. Right now it's mid-year. You may be watching this in September or April. Regardless of what it is, we all have big goals. Today, it's time to do 3 things. Number 1, check your story. What new story will you tell yourself? And what affirmations will transform you? Number 2, check your state. Today starts yesterday. Reestablish your routine, try the Gary Keller energy plan, and write down 3 gratitudes every day. Number 3, I want you to develop emotional and psychological fitness. Find places to stretch and grow and develop endurance. Now, and only now, I want you to take a look at your goals. You are now ready to do this. If you're up for the challenge, I want you to text me 703-608-9991 and tell me what action you took today. Now, for those of you who are tracking way ahead of your goals, kudos to you. It's time to raise your goals. No limits. I hope you guys have an amazing week, and it was great to talk to you. Let's get bossy.